Hello, my name is Raymond Garchevsky, and this is coming to you from my home, here in Cave Junction, Oregon. Tonight I should like to share with you a response that I made to a piece made on the internet by a man named Arthur Christian and his wife Fiona, a couple living in Australia. A spiritual couple who work together to open the eyes of the spiritually blind to a new way of living life here on this earth. The title of the piece is "The Fires of Hell Are the Byproduct of the Failed Government Curses." Arthur starts out by telling his subscription list that one should intentionally bounce back all curses to their makers. In this sense, a curse is a hypnotic spell that is imposed upon one by others who have the power of hypnosis and the power of force backing them up. In this case, it is government. In other cases, one finds this in religion quite often, and with entertainment. Now, as Arthur indicates that one should intentionally bounce back all curses, with clear intention to focus on the image that clearly describes and determines how they and all their loved ones, beneficiaries, partnerships, and associates process their lives. A huge raging fire in their brain, their bodies. See and witness them all burning up. I take a different view, and I communicated this to Arthur thus. Arthur, I perceive that in returning the curses back to the sources, it is not necessary for one to promote, to add or detract energy of a negative nature, but to simply mirror the curses back to its source. Nothing quite sends them up the wall like failure to create bondage of another through disarmament of their hypnotic spells. It shows the satanic henchman who has the real power. My experiences with the police, the courts, and government of the state of Oregon were of that nature. In essence, I resisted no one. I boycotted them via the process of spiritual mirroring. They had my body in a jail cell, but they constantly sought to entice me to agree to a conditioned release. When I repeatedly refused to agree to such a release, stating that I would either walk out of jail a free man or I would be carried out a corpse, it backed them up further and further until they finally threw me out of jail unconditionally. I walked out a free man. However, the return of the curse which they initiated through their pretense of color of law is still at work, in that they have not fully apologized for their criminality, nor have they settled for damages by holding to the illusion that they can simply walk away from their responsibility merely by exercising their illusion of satanic power. Any other means of returning the curse to its sources more or less merely seduces the usual victims into behaving as do their like-minded satanic opposition. The Satanic Spell is the opposition. Oppose no one, and the spell is broken. That is the power of love. Remember, the illusions of Satan have no power over truth. They exist in different realms of consciousness. Nothing quite does it like mirroring the satanic intentions of police, prosecutors, judges, and politicians back to them. This is a spiritual tactic that the satanically controlled victims are completely unaware of. That is why they are victims. I have demonstrated this power of truth over the internet over the last 16 years. One can see the power that simple truth has over these thin-skinned, illusory, bound minions who pride themselves on their cleverness, but have been disarmed, defeated, and scattered back into the shadows in which they dwell. They are all threatened by truth, and cannot stand up to it like men. I've even had more than one of these disinformation, these government, media, intelligence community disinformation agents call me on the phone and ask to be friends. The fires, the curses, which they started through such satanic attacks, can only be put out by themselves through their own redemption. The fires of hell cannot be foisted upon victims while they are still victims, upon any satanic minion. It is the satanic minions who curse themselves in the fires of hell through their prideful ignorance. They soon come to see the power that they thought they had is just a fleeting illusion, and it turns on them and eats away their very souls. There is no need to condemn them. They have condemned themselves. Just stand in truth, mirror them, and let the devil take the hindmost. Rabid talk show hosts who froth at the mouth and utter primal screams of prehistoric man facing battle is nothing more than the compensatory behavior of a little boy who never quite grew up and shares his fantasies with an equally childish audience. Those are the many who live by the sword of satanic opposition and will die by the sword of satanic opposition. They are the living dead that I refer to, and they are legion. The only viable solution is boycott, boycott, boycott. The spiritual, non-violent way. You can see where the preponderance of energy lies in the masked, satanically conditioned public. Hell, isn't it? Is that where you want to spend the rest of your life? Is that what you want to teach your children and your children's children? We must change the way we live by changing ourselves, and in doing so, our community will change, our state will change, our country will change, our world will change.